Hey everybody, what is going on? I am Maximus Rex and this is Big Baby Reviews. Today is Rob Liefeld Day, so we are looking at the next issue in his New Mutants run from the early 90s. Before we do though, we here at Big Baby Reviews are on the road to our first small milestone of 250 subscribers. So please, if you are viewing and enjoying these videos and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. It really helps the channel out, helps get us out there more, and helps motivate us to create more of the kind of content that hopefully you're enjoying. So moving on to this issue. This is New Mutants issue 95, cover dated November 1990. A few things you need to know about this issue before I move on. This may be a pretty short video just because there's a few reasons here. I know a bit of the backstory. I've heard Rob Liefeld talk about this, where in and around this time, this kind of Extinction Agenda crossover was kind of shoehorned into all, you know, the X titles, right? New Mutants, X-Men, Uncanny X-Men. I have the trade paperback and I've actually read it and all the way through, and it is a confusing mess. And there's a lot of exposition and repetition from issue to issue, from title to title, because they have to explain stuff that happened, you know, in the last issue of Uncanny X-Men, and now we're in X-Factor, and now when you move on to the next, you know, New Mutants, they got to explain what happened in X-Factor and in X-Men. It's a kind of a mess. I got to be honest, not the best crossover. But so Rob Liefeld has talked about how he put minimal effort into this, and you know, he was given the blessing of just doing the barest amount of work for these issues, for the crossover issues, because at this point he was really working towards X-Force ~1, right? We're at issue 95 here. So behind the scenes, he's starting, you know, he's created Cable, he's created Deadpool, Deadpool's coming along soon, and he's kind of establishing all the basics that he's then going to work into X-Force ~1, right? And the kind of next phase of the New Mutants, if you will, at that time. So he's kind of focusing on that and doesn't have a lot of time to give to these, and that was kind of known by the editor. And as you'll see, the art is pretty lackluster, not by any fault of Rob Liefeld's, in the sense that, hey, he was honest about it and he said, you know, I'm going to focus on what's coming next, and this is kind of a fork in the road that I don't really want to be taken. So we'll go through this issue pretty quickly because you'll see the art is pretty horrible, I got to be honest. Again, no fault of Liefeld, I would say, because this cover is pretty cool. It's pretty close to his style when he's on X-Force inking himself. This is the second cover that we get to see with Liefeld inking himself, so looks good. It's kind of what I like as, you know, peak Liefeld. Late New Mutants, early X-Force, and all of X-Force that he did, and also early Youngblood is kind of my, you know, personal Rob Liefeld sweet spot. I'm judging from the cover here, but this is, I guess, the issue where Warlock is killed or gotten rid of, I guess is how we put it. So without further ado, pretty good cover. You know, eye-catching, attention-grabbing, dynamic. You got a guy dying, even though you don't necessarily know it, but first blood, ripped off, I guess, from Rambo. We're going to crack this one open and have a look inside. So right away, what you're going to notice, and I'll go through the credits to explain what's going on here, but like, does any of this look like anything Rob Liefeld would draw? Like, just none of this has any bit of Rob Liefeld on it. And you're about to find out why when I turn the page and we look at the credits. So this definitely has the Rob Liefeld kind of feel, because, you know, he's always loved this, you know, turning the comic sideways double splash deal. I'm a sucker for double page splashes, so layout wise I think it's pretty good. And he's done my favorite where he's got a splash, right, and a cool big exciting image, but also some insert panels here and there to still get some of the storytelling across. So I think it works really well as a page, even though you have to turn the comic. Some people complain about that. I mean, you know, if it's interesting, it's a cool image, I don't have that much of an issue. If it's done well for storytelling purpose, I remember in some of the early Batman issues Greg Capullo did, there's a motif where things were turned around, you had to turn the comic. It's a bit annoying, but if it's done in an interesting fashion, again, I'm game for that. So this credits, we'll explain a little bit. So Louise Simonson is the writer. It says Rob Liefeld and Company art, and then Joe Rubinstein and Company inker, or inkers, I guess. Then Joe Rosenletter, Brad Van Cutta is the colorist. So what's happening here is we can even assume that maybe Rob Liefeld is not even penciling all of this, because art is pretty vague, but they're saying that these guys, or at least Joe Rubinstein and a bunch of other guys, are the inkers. So I have to assume that this is just pencils, right? Or else it would be mentioned. So pencils by Rob Liefeld and Company. So at this point, I think he's already got some assistants. I could be wrong. But like the Murat Michaels and Dan Fragas of the world, you know, maybe they're already around and those are the guys helping him behind the scenes. Maybe, I don't know for sure, but that would be my best guess. And on this page, I do think we feel a little bit more of the Liefeld in the layout, right? And the posturing and stuff. And this for sure is a Liefeld kind of shady face, if we want to call it that. But all these poses are as well. But the faces are just maybe this one, right? But all the other ones are not at all kind of, you know, hallmark kind of Rob Liefeld faces. Also in this issue, you'll notice that, and this was a thing in the whole crossover, at least in a few issues, where the characters are stripped naked and, you know, they have to find clever ways to cover up the genitals and the boobs, the titties. So yeah, just kind of an odd comic. And as I said, the art is just not very good overall and rushed, but we've explained why, right? I do feel like sometimes I wonder about like this page here. Did maybe there's a Mignola vibe here? So was Rob Liefeld kind of aping for Mignola for these layouts or something? Or did Mignola draw some of it? Is that even possible? You know, he did do a fill-in issue on X-Force later. So did they know each other somehow? There are, again, I've talked about how Rob Liefeld's a bit of a chameleon where he's got his basic style, but he'll integrate styles from other artists that he respects and enjoys, I guess, at different periods of his art. So I know there is a period where he's doing a little bit of the Mignola, or throwing some of the Mignola in there. So I'm confused on these pages if that's what's happening, or if for some reason Mignola actually drew it. Because there's, or either the inker was like, man, this has a Mignola vibe, so I'm going to ink it that way. Something like that. But yeah, these other pages, man, they're just, you know, to have a whole issue of people running around naked, but always, oh, convenient shadow for boob and vagina. Like, it's a little ridiculous. Why not just have them dressed? You know, maybe that would be simpler, because there's just weird blacked out spaces, right? It doesn't really make that much sense. You could almost assume she's got some sort of black bathing suit on here, maybe. Yeah, just a weird issue artistically, for sure. Like, what's going on here? That's... there's something about the inking there that gives it a Mignola vibe. Again, maybe it's the inker, because I do think this page is by Liefeld. So yeah, maybe it's Liefeld doing a bit of Mignola-ish, a bit of a Mignola-ish style in his pencils, and I guess drawn it quickly, more angular lines, and the inker's following that. I mean, the overall layouts aren't that horrible. It's just the finish is, right? All these naked people here, that is odd. And I mean, their arms are crossed behind their back, but there doesn't seem to be anything tying them together. So is it like a psionic X-Men kind of thing? Someone's using some sort of manipulation power on them. I don't know. See, these, although inked by someone else, I think are good faces. Almost full Rob Liefeld faces. And even the proportions, or maybe the inker's messing around with it and changing it a little bit so the proportions are a little more human. Or close to, I don't want to say human, close to realistic. So here's another, you know, when you look, I've talked about the Liefeld profile sometimes being funny. I think it's pretty good here. He always does, where the hair, like, it should come like this and then like this. I know Cable has the receding hairline. So I've always thought it was odd how Rob, I think his profiles could just be improved if he gave it that little point of hair that people usually have right here. That I've always found is kind of lacking in his art. Just an odd thing that he does there. And you'll find other examples of that. Not cheapened, I guess, on the layouts. Still lots of smaller panels here, which will, you know, go away later on with Rob Liefeld adopting the more, again, image style. But we definitely have a lot of storytelling here. Yeah, like this panel here. How is that in any way Rob Liefeld? Maybe in the hatching in the in the background here, but that's, again, I think he probably got that. That looks to me like Mignola, right? Mignola would do that in Gotham by Gaslight, right? Vertical panel, 90s. Still on cheap newsprint, right? So the printing quality is not that great either. You get the same kind of fuzzy effect with the blacks spaces, as I mentioned on yesterday's Incredible Hulk review. Getting the same ad, so yeah, definitely the same month. Yeah, what happened here, right? Like, almost looks like that guy from the Goonies, right? The eyes just don't align here. Probably drawn quickly and the inker not helping out. Do you think he uses this villain's body to good effect to cover up the background or to create a background. He basically is almost always the background. And some of these faces, again, like these eyes are just wildly not on the same plane here. Just wow, what an odd face. This one too, very Rob Liefeld, channeling a bit of McFarlane in the mouth. Just a more cartoony Rob Liefeld than maybe we're used to in New Mutants. We saw it a little bit in, there's this X-Men, I'm not quite sure, with Wolverine and Colossus that he does, where it is quite cartoony. Is it What the or something? I'm not quite sure. If you know the answer, tell me in the comments. So there's something happening here with Warlock. And again, as I mentioned, I'm pretty sure this is the issue where Warlock bites it. So we got Rob Liefeld getting a small chance at least drawing some of the other X characters in this crossover, right? In this case, we got X Factor, right? The original X-Men showing up. Another really odd, you know, there's no way that's Rob Liefeld, or at least not in the inking is the inker is definitely someone who's more than willing to change stuff. It's almost like Bill Sienkiewicz, I forget how to say, Sienkiewicz, inked this one over Rob Liefeld. That's, you know, if I had to guess. So yeah, as the villain somehow, you know, sucks out all of Warlock's energy, we're getting some really wide, quickly done Kirby crackle. I don't know if that even counts. And there we go. Warlock is gone. Boo-hoo. So yeah, as mentioned from the beginning, not that much that stands out here because kind of a rush job, even admitted by Rob Liefeld himself. So I believe next issue is kind of the same thing, so I'll be going through that one quickly as well. Cool kind of shot here by Alan Davis on the Knights of Pendragon. Not the most interesting comic ever, though. And there you have it. Not much to write home about with New Mutants 95, but we are quickly moving into the kind of finale of New Mutants and the beginning of X-Force. So things are going to start getting kind of dynamic and exciting in the art and as well as the story. So there you go. Thank you very much for viewing, everybody. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave it in the comments below. Let me know. If you have not subscribed, please do so. I'd really appreciate it. And I hope everyone out there enjoyed the video and everyone has an awesome day.
Like, subscribe, like, subscribe.
King Comics presents Big Baby, Volume 1, Issues 1 to 13, 204 pages of story and art. King Comics also presents Star Crasher one-shot, 32 pages, cosmic sci-fi surrealist adventure. You can find these fine comics at KINGCOMICS.CA, at MaximusRex13 on Instagram, or on Facebook, MaxRex or Big Baby.